Welcome to the Gamers Inn. Come on in, pull up a chair next to the fire. It looks like you've had a long journey. I'm your host Jocelyn, and joining me as always is my co-host Ryan. Hello, Ryan.
Hello. How's it going?
Not too bad, not too bad. God, it feels like it's been so long since I last talked to you. It's incredible. We should do this more often.
It's almost like it's been 4 days, or 3 if you were editing the podcast on a Tuesday. Uh,
Who edits on a
yeah, well,
Tuesday? Jeez.
yeah, well, no. Yeah, no. We recorded on Monday, and now nothing happened in between Monday and
Well, that's
Friday.
not true. There's a couple of things that we found out that are coming out this fall that we weren't expecting, and those were announced in the interim. So, and that actually brings us to our topic of the week. No, I'm kidding. But we are kind of messing with our format a little bit this week. We're not going to do quick news because we just went over everything on Monday. So, there was only one big, quote unquote, big Nintendo announcement. Ryan's rolling his eyes at me.
No, no, no. I am agreeing with you. I have things to say about that announcement.
Things, eh?
Yeah, we'll get into it because I'll just have to remember just all the things. But
But yeah,
we
so
haven't
we're
played
gonna.
games, have we?
No, we haven't really played much. Like we said, we recorded on Monday, so we've only had a couple days. I worked shifts all the way through that time, so I mean, I haven't really been playing much. So we're gonna talk quickly about what we're playing. We're gonna skip quick news, and we're just gonna jump right into a fall preview. So this is the fall preview episode of the Gamers Inn.
We do it every year.
We kind of probably should, because the fall's always so huge.
I think we do it every year.
Do we really? If we went
I
back,
think
we probably do.
probably because there's usually around this time, like PAX is going on right now. Gamescom was last
True, yeah.
stuck in news limbo. So it's kind of like, yeah, let's look at all the release dates are mostly finalized. I mean, I don't think we're going to be getting anything.
We
Well,
still don't have an Xbox release date, do we?
I was just about to say there probably is some minus a couple surprises on the Xbox One launch, but also you got to remember when the 360 and the PS3 came out, digital titles weren't as big.
Hmm.
So I think we're also going to be seeing some surprise digital only downloads that we haven't heard of yet that are going to launch on the PS4 and Xbox One.
Fair
So my
enough.
prediction.
Oh, geez, we're in predictions already? Crap.
Write it down, everybody. It's a pretty easy prediction to make,
Yeah,
so I
yeah.
mean, you don't owe me a Coke or anything. But
Fair
you
enough,
know,
fair enough. So let's get into that later on in the show. Right now, we're going to jump into what we're playing, which is pretty much what Ryan's been playing, because actually, I'm going to jump in with a quick public service announcement that will explain what I have been playing. I have been playing WoW, and I know we talked about how I wasn't going to talk about WoW anymore, but I just wanted to let everybody know because I didn't know this until literally 2 days ago, and it really, really upset me. And then I took a whole lot of shit on Twitter for being upset. So
all that shit.
I am just going to let everybody know that all of the quests in the Barrens are going to be removed with patch 5.4. So for those of you who don't know, patch 5.3 was the rebellion in the Barrens led by I think it was the trolls or something. I don't even know 100%. I've just kind of picked up little bits and pieces here and there from the WoW podcast I listened to. So all of that quest content, because the storyline is moving forward, is going to be removed. So if you want to run through the Barrens once to get the story, you have to do so before September 10th. So that is about a week and a half from now. So you have a week and a half to get to the Barrens and do that quest line. So just a public service announcement. That's what I've been doing, is trying to get through questing as much as I can to jump into the Barrens and get that done before they get rid of it forever. So that's what's going on. That's all I'm
You
going to
took
say.
you took some shit on Twitter. Like, was it just so people know? Like, it was people basically explaining to you how MMOs work. Not explaining, educating you on how
Yes.
MMOs work. I saw a bit of it, and I was kind of like,
And
everyone.
saying that there's no reason for me to, they were like, catch up, I don't understand, what do you mean catch up? And I was like, well, I haven't done any of this content and it's gonna be gone. And and they were just like, oh, well, you can get gear like this. And I was like, no, it's not the gear. I want to know why the hell I'm breaking down the gates of my capital city. This doesn't make any sense to me as what my character knows in the game, because like, we're on an RP server, and we don't RP that much. I mean, we don't have backstories for our characters and stuff, but like, being a blood elf. I don't like killing the other blood elves. I don't like going after, like, at one point in the starting zone, you have to, like, kill the dragon hawks because they've gone crazy or something. And that really bothered me. I didn't like doing it. And we also try to go through the world given the information just that our characters are given. So, like, if we don't get sent somewhere, we don't really go there. We wait for the quest to send us. So that style of play, it just doesn't really lend itself to just like, well, I know that a patch is dropping, so I just have to run over to the Barrens and do the quest line ones. It's like I'm trying to get through all the content that would point me in the direction of the Barrens, as opposed to just going to the Barrens. So, anyways.
Yeah, it's kind of
a lot of work.
Too. But it feels like you're playing you're a lot of people are basically telling you you're playing it wrong.
Yeah,
I've heard that conversation before. It's like, you're going against the grain, even though it feels normal to in a what should be a story-driven game to be, in single-player games, like, you don't go to the next mission with Commander Shepard unless you go to the command center and the freaking Hackett tells you to do it, right?
Exactly.
You don't just go to Mars and shoot shit up and expect things to happen because they're going to be removing it in the Citadel patch. No.
Yes, exactly.
So, I don't know. MMOs, fuck those guys.
Yeah. So anyways, that's all I'm saying is those of you who are playing WoW who haven't done the Barrens questing yet, if you are in the same boat as me, which it doesn't seem like a lot of people are, but just so you know that well, yeah, you are. That's true.
That's just because I'm lazy, though.
So we're also going through and doing all the questing in the Veil because that's also going to be gone in 5.4. So, or not gone. The Veil will still be there, but it won't be the Veil of Eternal Blossoms anymore. It's going to be all covered in Shaw.
The Veil of melting stuff.
Yeah. So the quest hubs are leaving and stuff like that. So there's a bunch of quests in there that if you don't do them, then they're going to be gone. So again, just public service announcing that this stuff will be leaving. So if you want to experience it, then go do it before September 10th. So Ryan, what have you been playing?
I think the reason that I kept jumping to the topic because it's just a hell of a lot more interesting to talk about. Not talk to.
You're going to talk to the topic. Do I even need to be here?
I wouldn't be. We wouldn't be on episode 88 if I didn't think talking to you was interesting. The Bureau. Last we spoke, I had not finished it yet. I have now finished it, and the game, like I was explaining, the gameplay is a lot of fun. It's kind of a Mass Effect-esque type combat system, and you were given like a large amount of options with your squad mates and what kind of powers they have, and you can sort of queue up abilities and stuff, and sort of tell them what to do. Whereas in Mass Effect, you kind of just you queued up one power move basically just to make Liara do a twirly thing.
Wait, there's a spell just to make Liara twirl? That seems a little bit sexist and dirty.
Me, never. It's just a cast. Anyways.
Hey, Liara, spin for me. Slower.
Well, I didn't have that ability in my option wheel because that requires too much time and energy. It's like 40 hours to romance Liara? No, actually, Liara was my romance in that game. But we're not talking about Mass Effect. Mass Effect is a far more interesting game. The issue with the Bureau, I also love the story and the setting. It's 50s, alien, Mad Men style. Just really cool, rich era to set an alien game in. But the issue with some sci-fi stories is they're shit. And this one has this opening where it says you're just a normal agent, you have this mysterious case that you're delivering to somebody, and then you're interrupted by one of the sleepwalkers, which is basically infected humans. You get shot, and then inexplicably the gunshot wound, which should have been fatal, is healed. The case is gone, and there's a charred body in front of you.
Of course.
No explanation as to what goes on. I just figure, hey, aliens, let's shoot some shit, right? So
it's
progress
always
all
the
way through
aliens.
the game, 15 hours in, and then the twist. You get the twist as to what was in the case, why your bullet wound was healed, and why there was a charred body in front of you. And we can go into spoiler mode if we want to, but I figure this game's pretty new, so I probably don't want to do that.
Yeah, this only just came out last week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was about 2 weeks ago,
Yeah.
and really I think it's a game worth waiting for a Steam sale, so I'm not going to spoil it. But
Yeah.
suffice to say, the twist kind of made me go, oh, okay, I can live with that. But then
It's
like,
literally a head scratcher.
yeah, I was just like, kind of like, okay, whatever, as long as it. But the issue is that it happens, and then the story, like the gameplay changes, right? Like you stop doing what was fun in the first 3 quarters of the game and start doing like boring stuff, without ruining anything. You end up
It
losing
switches
control.
gears into not a fun place.
Yeah, exactly. And you end up not controlling the main character. The main character's still around. You end up controlling a different character, and
That's weird.
it's just it really weird. It's like a fun train heading to awesome town, and then all of a sudden someone flips the switch, but instead of a smooth sort of transition to awesomer town, it skips the tracks and crashes into Fuckville. I mean, it's just really unfortunate. I just I finished it, and I just left me feeling kind of like disappointed.
Aww.
Kind of wish that I kind of understand why some of the reviews were pretty harsh, but I still enjoyed it. The combat was still cool. I feel the need to go back and play the first 3 quarters of the game again because I really did enjoy it that much. But that ending was just kind of like it was the story. It's just it.
I hate when the ending kills a game.
Yeah,
So
but
disappointing.
it wasn't even like on the levels of Mass Effect. It was kind of like I really enjoyed the way the game was progressing in just a generic sci-fi alien. We gotta fight these guys. If they had just continued down that path, similar to the XCOM that came out last year, that would have been fine for me. I feel like they didn't need to do the whole switcheroo twist ending, and then it felt like it was too just poorly executed.
Mm-hmm.
But that being said, it's a really cool, fun third-person shooter. If you can sort of go in thinking the last quarter of it kind of shakes it up a little, I still think it's worth experiencing if you're a sci-fi alien shooter fan.
Mm-hmm.
Just wait for it to go on sale.
Yeah, fair enough, fair enough. So that pretty much wraps up what we're playing, because like we said, we didn't really play much in the last couple days, but Ryan and I do really appreciate your continued support of our show, along with the support of our sponsor, Doghouse Systems. You can use the code TheGamersIn to double your RAM when you purchase a new gaming rig. Head on over to doghousesystems.com and get your order on, which would normally bring us to Quickfire News, but F that noise, we're moving on. We're going to plug some Slash Loot, where I hear there's actually some t-shirts from another podcast that involves the Ryan. Oh, well, actually, I was totally going to plug Zamp, but if you want to plug Starcrossed, we can do that too.
I thought we were talking about, I figured we'd plug whatever shirt Ryan's wearing. Today, Ryan's wearing a very sexy, sleek, star-crossed tan coffee cup shirt. If he turns around, you'll notice it's still tan on the back. There's actually only just designs on the front.
Yeah. But yes, you can head on over to slashloot.com and pick yourself up a Gamers In shirt, a Starcrossed shirt, or a Zombies Ate My Podcast shirt, all which are now available. So that brings us to our topic of the week, which is going to be our fall preview of everything that's coming out in gaming. And I mean, obviously this fall with the launch of the new consoles is absolutely huge. So we've got a lot of really cool stuff coming out, mostly in November, that has to do with obviously the new consoles. So we've got like stuff like new Killzone and, the kind of, exclusive titles to these new consoles. So, but there's some pretty cool stuff coming out before that too. So the first one that we got here, and I don't think we're going to go through the whole list like one by one, but we've got Rayman Legends, which is the one that I always confuse with Pikmin. So I saw this on the list and I was like, that already came out. It's because I don't play either one of them. And so they both, and Rayman, Pikmin, I don't know. I just always get them confused in my head. And isn't he the little dude that like his body is floating and it's not attached to his feet and stuff? For some reason that looks like Pikmin in my, I don't play it and don't really care and I'm not paying attention head.
Well, classic, he's a classic France character put out by Ubisoft. Rayman is actually like, he used to be like a third sort of like a Mario type game platformer. But then a couple years ago, they came out with Origins and sort of switched it up to a 2D plane, similar to what New Super Mario Brothers was. But this one is actually the one that got delayed. It was supposed to be exclusive to Wii U in February. And then
Right,
they delayed it.
right. That's why I know about
Yeah.
it.
It's been reviewing really well. And I was listening to something this morning that had stated that the Wii U version is still the best co-op version because of the Murphy mode and the
The
stylus
Murphy
stuff.
mode? Is that
Well,
what
there's
you're
that
just
little,
calling it now?
well, no,
Everything
it's
cool
literally,
is now the Murphy mode.
yeah, man. There was no Murphy mode in the end of XCOM. It's like this little green fairy, similar to Tingle, and his name's Murphy. And there's certain levels where you have to control Murphy with the stylus, and allow an AI character to navigate. So, if there's no bridge, you like cut some ropes to form a bridge and shit like that. But I guess on the Xbox and PC, it's like it turns into a rhythm game. It's
Oh.
really hard to understand, but I guess like when you get to a sort of well, as the AI character is navigating through the level, you'll be hitting like X Y in timed formation to kind of make the level fall into place so the guy can get through.
Oh,
Um,
lame.
it's on PC as well, so I don't know. There's just so much out or coming out, and I don't even know if I'm gonna pick this one up. Even though I did enjoy the challenge, I needed this game in February, to be honest.
Yeah. Well, and that's true. I mean, when was it supposed to launch for Wii? Was it in February?
Yeah, they
Yeah.
literally delayed it the day it was supposed to come out, which
Oh,
is
right.
pretty effed up on Ubisoft's part, I
Yeah.
think.
You'd think that they would make a big decision like that way before it was actually supposed to happen. But,
Yeah,
whatever.
they're French.
It's not like they pissed off a whole lot of Wii U owners because,
No,
nobody owns a Wii U, so.
me and Bill down the street.
Yeah. So Grand Theft Auto 5 is something that a lot of people are very excited about. What about you, Ryan? Are you excited about this?
I want to shoot some people in this game.
So you are excited about this then. I've got to say, I have played Grand Theft Autos in the past and they were okay, but I feel like the mechanics of the game haven't really evolved very much since like I played Grand Theft Auto. I can't remember which one it was, 2 or 3, like it was a long time ago. And playing Grand Theft Auto back in the day compared to playing Grand Theft Auto 4, Red Dead Redemption, and LA Noire, they all feel the same. They're like clunky and not fun to play because of the clunky.
I understand that. Yeah, I think when I played 4, the characters felt like they were moving like just not as smooth as you'd want them to. Judging from the gameplay, I actually haven't seen any gameplay of Grand Theft Auto 4.
I haven't seen
It's
any
mostly
either.
for 5. It's mostly been the cinematics, which,
Mhm.
mind you, look fantastic because of the mocap and the
Yeah.
top bar.
Well, and
close-
that's what I really enjoyed about LA Noire and even somewhat about Red Dead is that I don't know, they didn't use the same technology, but I mean, just seeing the motion capture stuff on the faces and everything in LA Noire, like it was a whole nother depth of the game. But it was so funny because you go from this like crazy, well animated, really intense, like the interview scenes and the cut scenes in between, all this kind of stuff, into this clunky walking and driving mechanic, and you're just like, oh, you were so close.
Well, that being said, the Grand Theft Auto 5 is going to sell like hotcakes.
Oh, absolutely.
This is the title that, I remember, what was it, San Andreas, or even just Grand Theft Auto 3. It was on the top list of like parent groups of like, do not let your kids
Yeah.
play this game. Do you remember those days?
Well,
And
yeah.
they made it 10 times worse when they they accidentally left the sex mini game in San Andreas, and the explosion that caused. Just, I wonder.
The explosion in the sex minigame. Way to go, man.
Well, I really wonder if five seems to be the most serious they've done, and it like even with 4 they were doing like this weird marketing where they were like being all tongue in cheek. This one, it feels like they're being very serious and treating it like if you're gonna put an adult game out, one targeted towards our age, I don't want it to be like tongue in cheek. I want it to be targeted like be serious.
Yeah.
Like Like, look at
If you're gonna do it, just do it.
yeah. I can't even think of an example. I don't think any games do this. Like all the games that are targeted at a mature audience, they all have this weird, silly thing. I mean, the best example I can come up with is if you ignore the Halo, Mountain Dew, and Doritos, and just look at the awesome trailers they were putting out for like Reach and stuff, which were like really serious and sort of like focused on like the history and whatnot. But then, you look at the aisle at Walmart and there's a giant Master Chief red code. It's just I just wish the video game industry would grow up a little bit.
Yeah, fair enough. And so you think that Grand Theft Auto 5 is the video game industry growing up, or at least owning the fact that it's a mature game?
I think so. I haven't seen any examples go against that, but then again, I haven't seen like the TV spots they put out because I don't watch enough TV. But I think it's close. I would say it's probably so far, at least on my radar, feels that way.
Mm-hmm. So that comes out September 17th. And then do you have any opinions on the Wonderful 101 before we move on to what I know you have an opinion on?
I don't know if I'm going to... Dog.
Oh, yeah, the dog.
Okay,
sounds like a child screaming or something.
You should have heard it when I got the pizza today. Sounded like someone was being electrocuted. The poor guy. It's like, don't worry, you don't need to tip. It sounds like you need the money for something else. Well, yeah, Wonderful 101. I was thinking of picking this up, but it feels like there's other games elsewhere that'll keep me busy, and there's really nothing special coming out around it. So I don't know.
So the thing that I know that you're excited about is the HD release of Wind Waker, which is coming September 20th. To the HD eShop. No, wait, sorry, just the eShop. The eShop isn't actually in HD. Failing at life tonight.
Well, it is. But this is related to. Okay, I guess we could start talking about like Nintendo really had these big announcements this week.
It was so weird.
Super weird. Okay, first of all of these announcements worthy of what a Nintendo Direct, right? Like.
I thought there was a Nintendo Direct going on because it was just like all of a sudden my Twitter exploded with the stuff that was going on with Nintendo. And I was like, whoa, are they doing a press conference? What is this?
I don't know. Like, it's just, you have a Nintendo Direct for the year of Luigi where you announce a bunch of games that have shoehorned in Luigi stuff. Where it's like, oh, Mario Tennis has a special Luigi mode. Okay, great. I didn't really need to watch a half-hour YouTube video. But when it comes to these announcements, like, Wind Waker HD, they're doing 3 separate SKUs for it with a 2-week early release on the eShop, which is awesome in the sense.
So are you going to buy the downloadable eShop version to have it a couple of weeks earlier, or are you going to wait to have a box? Because they're going to do a fancy box.
Well, see, that's the thing, is that they announced a fancy box. It's exclusive to GameStop. So I tried to look for it in Canada. I don't think it's available in Canada, which may be my out, because I don't need any more plastic crap. But it's a statue of Ganondorf from Wind Waker in one of those like weird plastic capsules, and it comes with the game, and that comes out on October 4th. Yeah, and I just,
I love plastic crap, so...
I do too. I have a perfect spot for it. It's right up there. Just move the plastic stuff just a little bit to the left, and then, it would fit. But I believe it's only coming out in the States and Europe. I have to check my local EB Games. I think we have some EB Games worker, listener people, so maybe they can correct us, or I'll find one of them and say, hey, is this coming? But... I kind of want to play it though right away. I kind of rather just have it, but just the concept of releasing a game 2 weeks early, digitally on any sort of eShop or the game store, I think is an amazing idea, and it's crazy that Nintendo is doing this first.
It's a little bit of an older concept because they've been doing it with movies for a long time. Like when you different movie studios would have deals with cable companies. So I know like you would get movie X would come out a couple of weeks early on like the premium movie channel or the what are they? I can't remember. It's been so long since I've had this on cable, but
Network.
not quite the movie network. They used to have like a direct or on demand.
Yeah.
And so you could go in and they'd have the movies a couple weeks earlier on demand, and it was just like a digital rental for 24 hours or whatever. So this is kind of different because you own the game, but at the same time, same concept, right? You know, digital
Yeah.
versions available before boxed versions, and you know,
I mean, I understand, their biggest sort of retailer they have to please is GameStop and Walmart. So giving GameStop and Walmart an exclusive edition of here's a Wind Waker bundle and a Wind Waker uh, uh, toy thingy to sell to make up for the fact that we're going to cannibalize your sales with an eShop release. But
yeah,
those that is smart marketing. And if it's the similar to what we talked about like last year early summer when we started using Green Man Gaming and I was buying games
right,
for like 25% off but 3 months before they came out. It's the same idea. You're giving me value, in exchange for a benefit, right? So if I can play through this game 2 weeks earlier, and all I have to do is give you my money, and you don't, it doesn't cost you anything. You just got to send me the code.
mm-hmm.
Like, why aren't more companies doing this? Like Microsoft and Sony have 10 times the infrastructure that Nintendo
Right,
has, and they've never done this.
mm-hmm.
It's I understand
Well,
why.
and
'Cause they don't
the
want to
thing
piss
is
off GameStop.
too, is that Wind Waker is a game that's been out already. So actually, like the movie analogy is actually really good because you can go see a movie in the theater before it ever comes available to you in your home. So I
Mhm.
mean, the early digital release kind of makes sense when it's something that's already been out there in some form before. It's not like they announced a 2 week, 3 week early digital version of, I don't know, what's something else new that's coming out
Well,
Nintendo
let's say
wise.
they did it with, well, yeah, if they did it with the new Mario game coming out
Yeah.
in
Well, see,
November,
but
like,
that's what I'm saying. Like, I don't think that they would ever do that with a
yeah,
brand new IP. It's because this is it is like it's, I
well,
don't want to downplay the Wind Waker HD because, like we've said before, like the graphic updates are incredible. Like it almost looks like a different game. Like the obviously gameplay is all the same and the story is the same and all that kind of stuff. But it looks so much better that's worth the extra money, right? So,
yeah,
um,
I understand what you're saying in
yeah,
the sense that, you know, it's a cool experiment for both Nintendo and their retail partners
right,
because then they get to see, okay, this, when you look at the Wii U, Wind Waker HD is very important because it's the first tentpole franchise coming out. Even if it's a remake or whatever, it's still like a tentpole franchise. I wouldn't count New Super Mario Brothers. I wouldn't count Pikmin 3. Zelda Wind Waker is like the
mm-hmm,
first one. So, and it's also it's special because it's probably the one of the few games to come out for the system that it's worth picking up for.
right,
So when you look at that, it's kind of like this is an interesting experiment to say, okay, how does this work when we release it 2 weeks early? Do we see, like Nintendo's already gone public saying that they've seen a huge spike in downloads on the eShop rather than buying in store. Like
right.
they're sort of like, hey guys, have you learned about this digital
This digital
download sale
thing.
thing?
We're gonna
It's
call it
amazing.
downloadable games.
It, it's funny because it's almost like it's like a new puppy and you just bring it home for the first time and it's discovering all these great things and Microsoft and Sony like the older uncle and or whatever is just like I remember when I first discovered the toilet and I could drink out of it. It was great. But it's just I don't know why we're doing all these dog analogies,
It's
but
because you have a little yappy thing in the other room.
I know, but
And it's
no,
not
what
Ashley. Boom.
that's but yeah, no, Wind Waker 2 weeks early on eShop. I'm as interested to hear the results of this little experiment because alongside the 20th, we're also seeing a Wii U price drop and a Zelda bundle.
hmm
Um, the Zelda bundle is interesting, and we won't stay long on this. The Zelda bundle is interesting because it comes with our Hyrule Historia book.
Yes, which
Digital.
I love, which is actually beautiful and definitely worth the money.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think it's really neat that Nintendo's offering it as an app, and if they allow me to buy it separately, I will for surely buy it separately because
For
what if
Shirley?
what if that one
Does
burns down?
Shirley know she's getting it?
No, well, don't tell Ashley, but Shirley is definitely getting a Hyrule Historia. Now here I want to ask you this: like the $50 price drop, Nintendo's been saying for the longest time, right up until they announced this, that the price was not the issue. The name is not the issue. It's about the games. And now they're saying the price drop makes sense because there are games. It's like, that's kind of weird, isn't it?
So are you about to ask me if I'm going to go buy a Wii U?
No, I'm not. You know what? I already know the barometer for you buying a Wii U, and that's a Zelda game that doesn't suck.
Yeah.
Not that Wind Waker sucks. It's just it's not a new Zelda
Well, no,
game.
it's not a new game. It's something I've played before. And I mean, in terms of like Zelda games that suck, Skyward Sword for me was totally ruined by motion control. It was my first Zelda title that used motion control because I didn't play Twilight Princess on the Wii. So I don't know. If I can't decide. I don't know what they would do to incorporate the gamepad and the motion control. That, like, it just seems like you'd be juggling a whole bunch of gimmicks in the next Zelda game, and that's enough to make me just stay the heck away. As much as it pains me because I love Zelda. I'm wearing a Zelda t-shirt. Love it. But I can't get behind the changes that they're making and the gimmicks that they're throwing in. I just want a good, like, open worldy dungeon crawler Zelda where I can just go and explore and sometimes get my ass kicked, and, you know, just a good old fashioned Zelda experience. And they haven't delivered that in quite a long time, so we'll have to see.
I mean, and again, like, I think for people who look at the titles coming out for the rest of the year for Nintendo, and then look at that price drop, it's probably a lot easier of a decision, unless, like I say, they're looking at next gen systems, which, you know, it's a tough.
That's the other thing too. I mean, the Wii U price drop puts it at $299, or was that the Zelda bundle?
Well, the Zelda bundle is $299, and now the deluxe system is $299. So I mean, you'd be crazy not to get the Zelda one. I mean, maybe you can just scratch off that paint on the gamepad if you really don't like it.
But so we're still looking at $300 for the system. What were our price points on our next gen consoles? I can't even remember now. Was it $399 and $499?
Yeah, so you're looking at $100 below the PS4 and a whopping $200 below the Xbox One.
So I mean,
if you're only gonna buy one, and you know
the thing is, they're all expensive, and I don't think I will be able to afford any of them. So it's almost a moot point. I mean, it might be that I think, okay, 300 plus 400 is 700. So for just a couple hundred more than the Xbox One, I can pick up two, like one kind of, I don't even know what you'd call it, current gen, mid gen.
You talking about the Wii U?
Gen 1.5. You know, whatever
you call it.
Whatever you want to call it.
The next Nintendo system.
Yeah.
Because you really can't call it. I mean, okay, I'm sure a lot of people can argue that it's next gen, and a lot of people can argue it's not next gen. But why don't we meet halfway and just call it the Nintendo system?
Yeah.
You know, like, when you're talking about next gen, you're talking about PS4 and Xbox One. When you're talking about games that are just fun and cute and cuddly with no blood, then you can talk about Nintendo.
Fair enough. So I forget where you landed. Are you going to get the digital version, or are you going to wait for the box? What do you do with the boxes?
Oh my god. It's off camera, but you can't. I have a closet full of boxes.
So you have a closet full of boxes. Would it actually pain your heart not to have a box? Is that even a relevant thing now? Because I know all of mine are in my dresser. They take up a drawer in my dresser, and then I think I have a couple of them that are collector's edition. The Skyrim one and I think BioShock Infinite are displayed in the living room, but 99% of my boxes are hidden away. So
yeah. I mean, for me, it's like, let's take Pikmin 3, for example. I was really looking forward to it. I could have downloaded it at midnight. I could have actually reserved it to get it on the eShop a day before, but I have Pikmin 1 and 2 on Wii, and I kind of was like, you know what, I might as well get the box just to have all three, and I can stack them up. But really, when it comes right down to it, those boxes don't mean much. But when you look at sort of like going forward into the next gen and the way Nintendo treats backwards compatibility, it's probably a better idea to have the disc, because Nintendo sucks at digital management.
That's true. That's
a
good point.
When we're talking about like collector's editions, like I have like my Halo Reach box in there that is just, it's not doing anything. It's just taking up space, right?
Yeah.
So
Although
Yeah.
that is an excellent point about if you have something digital on one system, the transfer over to the next, it's a whole lot different if you've got an actual physical disc.
Hmm.
That might be worth it. The waiting a couple of weeks. If you think it's something that, well, the thing is with Nintendo, we're gonna have years and years and years before they come out with yet another system, right? So you've got a lot of time. It's not really a big deal. Um, you're
Yeah.
probably going
Plus,
to be done with Wind Waker HD, and it's not like you're going to sell your Wii U and then not going to be able to play it, right? So you've got the system it's made for. You're probably fine if it's not compatible with your new system.
and I think to get it 2 weeks early kind of is like that is probably enough for me, and I really
You'll be
do need
done
to.
by the time everybody else gets it.
Yeah, but I need to get away from buying the boxes. I mean, this is probably a whole other topic, but like there's something about having that physical edition in your hands, then you get it, and then you open it and you realize it's not like when you were a kid, right? Like the manual is like a link to a PDF. The box has like a
I think we've
holes
had
through
this
it.
conversation before.
We have multiple times, and
Hmm.
it's the more I think about it, the more depressing it is. It's like I think the only reason I would get it on eShop is because they're giving me something for paying the same amount of money for less.
Right.
They're saying, okay, give us the extra money, we'll throw it to you 2 weeks early. You know, I think that's a good benefit. It's either that or like give me a $5 off deal. I don't know.
Right. So that's what's coming out either September 20th or October 4th is the Wind Waker HD. Um, Something very interesting that was also announced this week by Nintendo is coming out October 12th, and that is, well, I mean, Pokemon, but that's not the interesting part.
Nobody cares about Pokemon. That's
I feel like if I got into it, I would really like Pokemon. Given how much I love Battle Pets and WoW, I think Pokemon's probably right up my alley.
You ever
But
played a Pokemon game before?
way, way, way back, it was the
Like
Nintendo
Red, Blue?
64 version. I feel like Blue rings a bell, but I didn't play too
It's-
much of it because I didn't really understand
Did
what
you
was
play?
going on.
Are you talking about the 64 or the Game Boy?
No, 64.
Okay, if you played the 64, you didn't play a Pokemon game. That's like Pokemon Stadium, which is like
Yeah, that's what it was. Pokemon Stadium.
Oh, well, yeah, that it's a great Pokemon game. Don't get me wrong, I enjoy it.
I'm
but-
pretty sure you just said it wasn't a Pokemon game, so
Well, okay.
shove it.
When you say Pokemon game, you're talking about the handheld systems because that's like a Pokemon game.
Ah.
Always the ones on the consoles were more like companion games where
No
you
wonder
could-
I couldn't understand what I was supposed to be doing and why I had no Pokemons.
yeah, he's like you need a transfer pack and you
Yeah.
need to take your Game Boy Color and shove it in there. It's
Yeah, I
just
didn't get that. I put it in. I was like, why can't I play? I don't understand.
poor young Jocelyn.
I know. She was so traumatized.
I
But,
enjoyed Pokemon Stadium. I wasn't traumatized at all.
so what they announced is, and I swear to God, every newspaper article that was talking about this started with, "This is not a joke. No joke. Nintendo
Which-
is bringing out a 2DS in
Can I
order
just-
to convert all of their 3D stuff to 2D."
Right. And I think that sort of speaks to the attitude of the industry that almost every journalism establishment said, this is not a joke. It's like, come on, guys. Like,
It just
take it a
it's
little more seriously. I understand it's easy to say this isn't a joke, tee hee. But, like, when you really think about it, it kind of makes sense. Because it's targeted not at us adults, right? It's targeted at the 7 and under. Now, do you know why that's important?
Why is that important, Ryan? I feel like I'm about to get educated.
Let me educate you. If I had a 3DS, wait, here. Just give me a second. I got props. So,
Props.
here we go. So there, you probably won't be able to see it, but like right there, there's a little message that says 3D mode for ages 7 plus. They have that on every box, and I remember when the 3DS came out, these parent groups that weren't like they had nothing left to complain about for Mortal Kombat and Grand Theft Auto, so they started latching onto this 3D is melting their kids' eyes because Nintendo had to put this message on the box saying, extended use of 3D may cause damage to developing eyes. Which is kids under the age of 7. So now I'm not saying the 2DS doesn't look weird. When the first thing I saw it, I thought it was a Photoshop because I was kind of just working and then had to log in.
I wish I had a picture of it because then we'd flash it up on the screen like pros. But you can just go Google it because it's interesting looking. I look at it and everyone who has kids are like, oh my god, it has no hinges. That's great because my kids break stuff. And I'm just like, well, okay, but if I'm a 7 and under year old, that thing is huge and the controls are like halfway up. So I just feel like it would be weird and awkward to play with. Like controls at the bottom with a hinged system is easy to hold and look at. So it's odd.
It does look odd, and I think the images sort of throw it at a proportion in sense of the size. Like, really, is there construction going on? But it's like it's kind of the size of a flattened out regular 3DS, so it's not the big XL, but I kind of want to get my hands on it. I don't want to buy it. Like, by all means, just because I'm defending it doesn't mean I want to go out and pick 3 of these up because they're so amazing.
Well, again, it's not made for you. The thing is, it will play DS games and 3DS games, but there are no 2DS specific games. It will play games from other systems in 2D mode. Excuse me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's no 3D. Now, a lot of people were saying like, oh, well, why don't they just use the software toggle to turn off 3D rather than... Yeah. I mean, I think that's sort of... To me, I look at it and say, well, that's not anything I would need because why? I want the option, even if I don't use 3D all the time. Like, a lot of people are saying like, oh, well, why don't they just put out a revised 3DS XL without 3D? Because I never use 3D. It's like, well, don't you like having the option there? Like, just
well, and
have
the thing is, the 3DS screens are not traditional screens, right? So that's
they're expensive.
The whole idea is that it's not a traditional screen. So even when 3D is turned off, it's a different experience for your eyes than looking at a traditional tablet or monitor or TV or whatever. So it can be strenuous even if you have 3D turned off. So, I mean, I can definitely see how having a more traditional portable gaming screen would be better if you're not using the 3D anyway. But I mean, it would have been interesting if it had been like a 2DS XL sort of thing, like basically a 3DS XL, which is their best offering on the market right now, but with regular 2D screens instead of the 3D screens. But I mean, I'm gonna get a 3DS when they come out with a fancy Zelda version, which they're totally gonna do, so that's gonna happen later on in the fall, I would think.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how this thing does. It could be another one of those it could be another one of the GBA micros that just sort of, they released it to see how it would do, and then it didn't sell well at all, and it kind of just went away, which is fine. I mean, this didn't cost Nintendo any money. It's kind of like, I've heard theories that they were probably using this as a prototype for something else, and then decided like, if we just make a couple tweaks, we could probably turn it into
maybe it's what the Wii U gamepad used to look like.
Maybe I've heard like it might have been they're using a lot of 3DSs for like tour apps, and they might have been using this as a prototype to kind of build a device specifically for that use. You can imagine having like and they say these things are really sturdy. They that's the issue, is that everybody most of the internet making a comment, not journalists, because they did get their hands on these. They kind of just looked at it, and I'll admit, I did it too. I looked at it, it's like, that looks weird, that looks cheap, that looks like any kid could break it, and it doesn't look at all appealing to any adult whatsoever, right? And it's just kind of have to take a step back and see how it does.
Well, and you said it off the top of the topic, or not topic, but whatever, micro topic. When we started talking about the 2DS, this is not aimed at us. The 3DS XL and the 3DS are aimed at us. This is aimed at the parents that already own those systems and have the games that their kids want to play, but their kids are too young to either take care of the 3DS properly and not break the hinges, or are too young to look at the screen without potentially making their eyes bleed. So, it's not, like, neither one of us has kids. It's not aimed at us as gamers. So, we really have no use for this, but I just can't get over how awkward it looks to hold.
Yeah. Well, I mean, this is...
Especially if I had little kid hands instead of massive
Maybe it'll
hands.
work. Yeah, I have small hands, but... I think this is Nintendo doing what Nintendo does best, and just experimenting and doing crazy shit that nobody would think any like.
Yeah.
If you went and asked somebody, do you think it'd be useful for Nintendo to release something specifically for kids? Everyone would say, yeah, of course, it's Nintendo. That's half
They
their
are,
market.
yeah, exactly.
You know, and
Much
then they
more
go and do it, and it's
kid-oriented.
like, what?
What are you
This is
doing?
madness. Microsoft would never do this. Sony
Mm-hmm.
would never do this. So, and I mean, Apple. It's been rumored for a long time that Apple would be releasing like a cheap iPhone, but they've never done it.
Yeah.
You know, so it's kind of interesting. And I'm really excited to see how it does because I think it's interesting. It's
Yeah.
an interesting move, and
We'll have to
I
see
don't
how
know,
it
it's
plays
weird.
out. So that's pretty
Yeah.
much all the Nintendo news, right?
yeah.
Yeah. So let's get back into the actual interesting games. I'm just
Mhm.
kidding.
The HD one.
Yeah. So this is one that I am totally psyched about and will probably pick up day one just because Joel and I loved this. The first two installments of this, we just played the crap out of it, even to the point of getting all the Joker stuff, which is the biggest pain in the ass of ever. So
For what?
Batman Arkham Origins. Which looks like more of the same, and I am totally cool with. Just give me different bad guys in a different setting, but if those game mechanics stay the same, I am way on board. So that was a lot of people's criticisms of Arkham Origins, is that it looked like, oh, it's just more of the same. It's like, well, if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Yeah.
So yeah,
I mean,
that's a
like,
day one buy for me. So October 25th for that one.
Yeah.
Then we have Battlefield 4 coming out on the 29th. Are you going to pick that up? Neither one of us. I mean, I played Call of Duty for a while, but are neither one of us are really war shooter type people. Are you going to be picking up Battlefield 4?
I'm not much of a shooter, but I remember a couple years ago Battlefield 3 came out. And it's funny actually, like after this recording, my old university buddies are getting together for some Battlefield 3 and I'm like, yeah, I'm joining in, you know, I made a purchase on Origin. I downloaded the premium, it was on sale. So I don't know if I'm specifically looking forward to Battlefield 4, but out of the two in terms of Battlefield 4 and Call of Duty Ghosts, the multiplayer in Battlefield 4 looks more interesting. Whereas the single player in Ghosts looks more interesting. So it's kind of
well,
like...
they do have a dog.
Well, yeah, you know me. I love dogs.
So
But,
out of the two, which one do you think that you would pick up? Because we've got Call of Duty Ghosts coming November 5th and Battlefield 4 coming October 29th. So they're, within a week of each other.
Yeah.
Actually,
I'm more,
one is a week after the other, so...
Yeah. I'm more inclined to purchase Battlefield 4 and rent Ghosts. Because I'm only interested in the single player. I mean, I know Call of Duty multiplayer is wildly renowned for being super awesome, but there's only so many times that I can run around a corner and get shot.
Yeah.
And I hate that. It's just too quick. Whereas Battlefield
Battlefield
like
has
this...
a lot of really cool mechanics in their multiplayer
Yes.
too. So, I mean, I could definitely see that. Maybe I'll pick up Battlefield 4 then and we can play together. What platform?
It'll probably be PC.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. All right.
Because you have a PC.
I do. I have one of those. I'm on it right now. So the other thing that comes out in October is Assassin's Creed 4. This is the pirate one, Black Flag. I'm really, really hoping that I can finish the other Assassin's Creeds by the time it comes out because, I don't know, I think it looks pretty cool. I like that they're, like, not necessarily glorifying like, the pirates in this are not your Disney Pirates of the Caribbean pirates. Like, they are dirty and grimy and ruthless and, like, this is good stuff.
Well, they said that right from the get-go that they're trying to do an HBO version of Pirates.
Right.
Which I think is the best. Like, just in your mind, picture Game of Thrones on the sea with more R-ing, Like, just, if you can imagine
Yarr.
the mountain being afraid of fire still. Or not the mountain, the hound. Still being afraid of fire, but, Anyways, I think you'd be able to get through those games. How far are you? Are you on 2?
Yeah, I'm about halfway through 2.
Halfway through 2. Okay,
Yes.
Well, 2 is really good. Brotherhood's really good. You might hit a bit of a slog as you go into Revelations, but you better get started, like, now.
I know. I need to stop with the WoW. I think I'm pretty much going to keep on playing WoW until I get all caught up and before 5.4 drops, and then I'm probably going to take a break for a while because, 5.4 is going to be around for a really long time. They might do, or they will do, one more patch between 5.4 and the next expansion, but I mean, we're looking at a while away, so I think I'll take a break once probably in mid-September I'll be wowed out. So, but then, I mean, we're jumping into November, and this is when we've got our next gen console launches. So, I mean, November is always busy, but this November is just crazy. We've got the PS4 on the 15th. We've got the Xbox One on TBD.
I read today that it was through a survey with PepsiCo or something. It was some terms of agreement for some contest, but it said late November. So I wouldn't be surprised if they're aiming for late November. There was actually news that came out today that, like, even though they cut the launch countries down, there's still going to be limited voice technologies in the launching countries. So even they can't even get a perfect launch in the 13
that they're aiming at. Jeez.
So I wouldn't be surprised if this thing gets right to the edge of Black Friday, if not even on Black Friday.
When is Black Friday?
When is it?
What's the date on that?
Probably around the 26th of November.
Yeah, because I was gonna say, I would say they're not gonna go before the PS4. PS4 launches on the 15th. They will probably go maybe a week after the 22nd. Maybe that would be right before Black Friday.
And I mean, like, yeah, it's been...
I don't think it's looking good for the Xbox One, personally.
I know Microsoft can't afford to delay. They can't afford to delay a year. I think Sony was just more prepared, which is funny because Microsoft had an extra year out of the gate with the 3. Anyways, we're getting into our Microsoft.
Yes,
we're going to be known as the Microsoft haters.
I know.
Which is not true. I just watched a TV show on my Xbox and it works perfectly fine.
Yeah, so there you go. But with the launch of the next gen consoles comes a whole lot of games. We just already talked about Ghosts, and we may or may not pick that one up. Again, like Ryan said, it's probably a rental. I know everybody's super excited about it, but probably a rental. We have another XCOM again. So what about that, Ryan? Is that going to be one you're going to pick up, or?
Yeah, this is the expansion to the XCOM proper, so it's kind of like a no-brainer for me.
Yeah.
It's similar to like the Civilization expansions.
Right.
It's just sort of like, sure, it's
Yeah.
going to add hours of fun to already a game that
you already like, yeah.
Yeah, sure.
So what is dropping with the PS4 is their IP exclusive title, which is Killzone. Everybody seems very excited about Killzone. Although, what was the other one? There's Killzone and Infamous. Infamous is the one that everyone is really excited about, and that's not coming until 2014, right? So
that's February. So it's not a long wait, and it does actually look pretty much on the verge of being finished. It probably just needs some extra time, but it looks like the best reason in your pro list for buying a PS4.
Absolutely. Sure. So we've got Watch Dogs coming out as well, which Watch Dogs is that's the kind of run around the city and hack it looking one, right?
Yeah, this is going to be Ubisoft's new Assassin's Creed.
Right.
They've already announced that this is going to be annualized, I believe, but
this one looks out of everything coming out in November, Watch Dogs I find really, really cool. I think that I would definitely pick that one up because that one looks like right up my alley.
Yeah, it'll be out. I did a little research, and I guess it's coming out the 15th for the PS4, but the 19th for everything else. So that should be interesting. But
I had to cough there for a second. Sorry.
Yeah, she's really broken up that she's gonna get it 4 days later.
I know, it was very, very sad there.
But yeah, it does look like a lot of fun. I think a lot better than Ubisoft's first sort of foray into the next gen consoles with the original Assassin's Creed.
Yeah,
so it should be interesting.
And then we've got a couple of titles we don't have release dates on because they're launch titles for the Xbox One. So we've got Rise, which is that the Roman one?
Yeah. It just looks kind
of meh.
Yeah.
If you were picking up an Xbox One, would you pick this up?
Probably.
You'd probably
not.
go with Dead Rising 3?
I guess. Even Dead Rising 3, I mean, you're talking to the guy who's on a zombie podcast, but I'm one of the few people on that show that says, like, I love zombies, but I will not watch bad zombie content. I will only digest on fresh, delicious zombie content. And Dead Rising 3 has gotten some impressive impression and previews, but I didn't enjoy the Dead Rising games, so I don't expect to enjoy the third one. And also, it's a timed exclusive. I mean, they say it's an exclusive, but Microsoft does not own Vancouver Capcom. It's probably an exclusive publishing deal. I mean, I've been burned multiple times on these exclusive publishing deals. Like, look at Ninja Gaiden. They immediately put the third one out on other consoles like a month later. Look at Mass Effect. It didn't last long with Microsoft. So
yeah. Absolutely. And then there's a couple of 3DS titles. The one that I am looking to pick up the console for, and that is Link to the Past 2, and that comes out on the 22nd, along with Mario Party 3DS, which Mario Party, again, is something I really, really enjoy. It's probably my favorite kind of, because, I mean, there's Smash Brothers, and there's, like, all the golf and everything else, but I think Mario Party is probably my favorite of all of the kind of Mario mashup titles where you get all the characters together. Mario Party. Winning.
Here's an experiment.
Oh, maybe there will be a Mario Party bundle instead of a Zelda bundle. They've been doing a lot of Zelda bundles. Maybe they'll
just got
change
dice
it up.
all over it.
Never know.
I think it'd be interesting, but here's a quick test in terms of Mario Party. Here's how you know someone is a true Mario Party fan. Okay, best minigame in the original Mario Party. There's only one that should come to mind that's just as the best, the one that you always played.
I don't know, man.
This might just be a personal preference the more I think about it. But
I'm trying to remember. There was the one where, like, wasn't there one where you were, like, on these big balls and you had to, like, bounce each other off?
Bumper balls.
Bumper balls. That's it.
I'm telling ya, it's the go-to Mario Party game. I played it all the time. Okay, next question. There was I can't remember the minigame, but I remember it was a specific section of Mario Party. But did you ever do like the spinning thing like this to try to go as fast as possible, and then end up with giant blisters on your hands?
Well, I never played it enough to get blisters on my hands, but I think you were a little bit too intense with your Mario Party play, dude.
We were getting in there trying to do it, and I remember me. God, I should stop. I'm gonna keep going. I remember there was like 4 of us in the room. We were all just going around taking turns. Anyways, one of us just ended up with this huge blister, and it was disgusting. And I really hope no one takes that out and then puts like porn music behind it, because that'd be awkward.
Oh my god!
But it's just the memories that I have of that game.
Oh man!
I've never played a Mario Party game since then, to Scar. But I'd be interested to get back into it. I kind of wish it was coming out on the Wii U, but I'll take a 3DS title.
Yeah, they really seem to be knocking it out of the park with all the 3DS stuff they're putting out. So I mean. They've won me over, and that is saying something. I am to the point that I want to buy their system, and they are Nintendo, and so this is a big thing.
Well, if Link to the Past 2 sucks, they've lost.
They have lost me forever. I will not be picking up anything ever again, ever.
But I have heard that it is fantastic, so you should be fine.
I should be fine. And Donkey Kong in December.
Yeah, so they kind of swapped. They swapped Super Mario 3D World, which was coming out in November. I actually didn't put that in there. That's funny. It was supposed to come out in December, but they swapped it with Donkey Kong. So I guess Donkey Kong's coming out on the 6th.
Yeah,
it'll probably be the last game of the year, the big title to come out, because December doesn't see a lot of titles.
Everything
especially
comes out in November.
Console releases. I mean,
absolutely.
Another probably going to be a solid Wii U game that a lot of people don't play because it's on a
Wii U.
there isn't the install base there, but it's good that Nintendo is using the same strategy that they're using with the 3DS. Just put out good games.
Yeah. So out of everything from September to December, if you could only buy one thing, what would it be?
Oh God. Okay, we're going back to like 10-year-old Ryan who had to save up all his toonies and loonies. And he has to pick one game.
One game. Don't make me do the Jeopardy theme.
Well, do you have a game?
I have a game. I think I pretty much already gave it away. Batman.
Batman's a good one. I think I'm really interested in, even though it's not on this list, it should be, Super Mario 3D World. I think a 3D Mario is always the go-to, and I've heard really good things, and
So
It's
is
just
this going
that
to be
classic-
more in the vein of like Super Mario Sunshine and Super Mario 64 and stuff, as opposed to the
No.
things that they've been putting out, which is like the side scroller type 2D view? Or what is this, Ryan?
It's nothing like the new Super Mario Brothers franchise, but it's also not on par with the Super Mario Sunshine and the 64 version. It's kind of a mix in between, and what you get with that is kind of like, I know you haven't played it, but the listeners don't know what I'm talking about. Super Mario 3D Land. It's very on par with that. From what I've seen in the trailers, people have said it plays differently and more like Galaxy.
Okay.
Um, which, to be honest, if you're comparing a game with Galaxy and Super Mario 3D Land,
It's
that
probably a
should
good
make
one.
people very happy.
Yeah.
So, and new Super Mario Brothers is not mentioned at all when talking about this game, so that's a thumbs up in my book because I
Yeah.
think I'm done with those games.
Yeah. Fair enough, fair enough. So I think that pretty much brings us to the end of the show. If you want to visit us on the web, you can do so at gamersinpodcast.com, or you can email us at info@gamersinpodcast.com. You can find us on AMove TV, along with other fabulous podcasts, including StarCast, Campaign Roundtable, Biggest Fan, and This Week in Blizz. Don't forget to follow us on Twitter. You can find me, Jocelyn, at GISGamer, Ryan is at R. Murphy, and the show is at The Gamers Inn. You can also find us on Facebook and Google+. Before we go, I just want to give a quick shout out and thank you to Greg Moffat for creating our music. You can find him on Twitter at SoundsInfluence. We would also like to thank Joel Duggan, who does all of our graphic work. You can find him and everything he does at joelduggan.com. So thanks for staying at The Gamers Inn, and remember to tune in next week and go to /loot and get your really cool shirts and stuff. Bye!
Yeah, bye.